Hello, David Wells here. What is martial trainer? All martial trainer is intended for an audience who practices martial arts for several reasons. That could be physical health, mental health, self-defense, defending others. But it's martial trainer Wing Chun. What is Wing Chun? It's basically a soft style martial art. Soft style meaning it uses the opponent's force against them. Wing Chun is also a Chinese kung fu. It focuses on close range attacks, simultaneous movements of the hands or the feet, and it has a heavy focus on defense for controlling your center line as well as the opponent's center line, which is along the middle of your body, which can be seen right here. If you'll notice, my head is jerking to the left and right. That's because of my headphone wire, which I'm recording with. Martial trainer will allow beginning martial artists to become more comfortable with fundamental attacks and defenses. It can also be used by experienced martial artists to develop speed, accuracy, and response time. What is the Kinect? The Kinect contains, it's a device that contains two infrared sensors which are used for depth, similar to the way the human eyes work. It contains one color sensor which detects color, but that's not important for this program particularly. It also contains a tilt motor which is used for automatically orienting the camera, and a microphone which can be used for voice recognition. We'll get into this later. How martial trainer works. Well, the Kinect detects motion and creates some data initially, and this data can be used to create joints and bones, which can be used for skeletal tracking. That's how you see my body, the shape of my body is drawn on the screen. In the bottom right corner of the screen, you'll see a hand rate velocity, which changes drastically based on my hand motion. This orange circle here hasn't been implemented yet, so you can ignore it. But basically each joint on the human body is represented with 3 coordinates in the bottom corner, which are used for an X axis, a Y axis, and a Z axis, which is forward and backwards. Which is, you can see with the depth meter on the right side, which is white and green. So if it'll be used to represent a punch basically later for future extensions. Martial trainer uses these points in this data to it uses 3D vector algebra on them, physics, scaled hitboxes, and timestamps. And this calculates the angles, positions, and velocities necessary to detect dynamic gestures, such as the Wing Chun Tansao block, which would be this sort of motion. Well, features of martial trainer would include, if you'll notice down here, the Kinect is in fact listening to us. So, it features a voice-activated interface. Right now I just went to skull mode for some reason. Connect back. Now I'm in the menu. And now I went to skull mode. Back. Posture mode. So now I'm in the posture mode. And my character on the screen is freaking out. But this is one of the features of martial trainer, and posture mode is intended for beginner martial artists who are still trying to learn the correct posture and form for each technique. And let's see if I select fighting stance. Fighting stance. Now, below the orange menu, you'll see some green and red text, which is now displaying fighting stance. Right now, I'm not doing the fighting stance correctly at all. So all I have to do is follow the directions, which disappeared for some reason. Back. Posture mode. Fighting stance. Alright, so now I'm in right tansao, but let's just go with that. So I'm not doing the right tansao correctly at all. So if we go into posture mode, and then we go into right tansao. If I just follow the instructions, so I'm not doing it. So that moves down, arm angle, extend, too strong. Good, but my momentum, so and if I do the other side, it won't work because it's currently using that specific move. So if I go to left tansao, it will detect the move, and there'll be a blue indicator at the top screen. Left tansao, right tansao, right tansao, which gradually fades away. This is all that posture mode we'll be doing. If I go back, there'll soon be a skill mode, which will be implemented. This skill mode will, it's basically going to be 5 of these orange circles. They'll appear every few seconds, and it basically allows the user to get an average estimate of their overall response time, their accuracy, and the velocity of their block, which may contribute to blocking power, how powerful their block actually is. This is a more advanced mode, mostly intended for slightly more experienced martial artists. If I go back, and then there's a third mode, training mode. This is basically, it's not going to be difficult to implement either, because it's going to be very similar to skill mode, which is, it was just 5 blocks. This is just going to be a series of the same blocks over punches, represented punches over a period of 60 seconds. And the user will be able to get, is basically trying to block as many hits as possible. They can reduce this by reducing the time it took for them to respond to the actual punch. So if they have a faster response time, they'll be able to block more incoming represented punches.